Welcome. In this video, you're about to learn some interesting things you may have never heard of before. So grab some tea, buckle up, and let's have a go. The popular musician David Bowie had two different colored eyes, a condition known as heterochromia. This was caused by a fight in his youth, which left one pupil permanently dilated. During the Victorian era, in the 19th century, women wore tightly laced corsets to achieve a slender hourglass figure. However, doing so often led to health issues like fainting spells, digestive problems, and even organ damage. The first commercial music compact disc pressed in the United States was Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA in 1984. This marked the beginning of the CD era in music. Early fitness trackers like the Fitbit and others were inspired by pedometers, devices that date back to Leonardo da Vinci, who sketched an early version to measure Roman soldiers' steps. Martin Luther King Jr.'s iconic "I Have a Dream" speech was not initially intended to include the famous "I Have a Dream" refrain. He improvised it on the spot, inspired by gospel singer Mahalia Jackson's encouragement to tell them about the dream. The reason men's and women's shirts button on opposite sides is historical. For men, buttons were placed for ease of access to their right hand in combat or riding, while for women, it was to make it easier for maids to dress them. How about that?
As the song lyrics go, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. Broadway productions are big business and collectively gross over $1 billion annually, solidifying its status as a major economic and cultural force in New York City. And speaking of Broadway, the distinction between Broadway and off-Broadway isn't necessarily geographical, but based on theatre size. Broadway theatres have 500 or more seats, while off-Broadway theatres generally have fewer seats. The Sandwich is named after John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich, an 18th century English nobleman. He is said to have asked for his meat to be served between slices of bread so he could eat without interrupting his gambling games. The symphony. What is it really? It's a musical composition for orchestra, which became a prominent genre during the classical period beginning in the mid-18th century. Composers like Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven expanded the symphony's structure, complexity, and emotional depth, laying the foundation for future orchestral music. How's this for impressing ladies? Male monarchin birds perform a unique moonwalk-like dance to attract females, showcasing their agility and strength in the dense rainforests of Central and South America. The advent of digital technology in the late 20th century transformed the music industry. The introduction of CDs in the 1980s, followed by digital downloads and streaming services like iTunes and Spotify, significantly changed how music is produced, distributed, and consumed, making it more accessible to people around the world.
The Great Stink of 1858. London's River Thames became so polluted with human waste that the stench overwhelmed the city, even disrupting Parliament. This ultimately led to the construction of the city's modern sewer system. The movie John Carter in 2012 is one of the most expensive box office flops in history, with an estimated budget of $260 million and an underwhelming performance that resulted in significant financial losses for Disney. As the saying goes, you win some and you lose some, I suppose. How about this for a lesson to keep dogs on leashes? In 1925, a Greek soldier's dog got loose, and a chase ensued across the Bulgarian border, leading to a surprise skirmish that escalated into a brief conflict between Greece and Bulgaria. The League of Nations eventually intervened to restore peace. The small Australian town of Coober Pedy is known as the opal capital of the world. But what makes it unique is that most of its residents live underground to escape the extreme heat. Homes, shops, and even churches have been built in dugouts. The oldest known story in literature is titled The Epic of Gilgamesh. Originating from ancient Mesopotamia and dating back to around 2100 BCE, it is considered one of the earliest pieces of literature in human history. The Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., founded in 1800, is the largest in the world, holding more than 170 million items, including books, manuscripts, photographs, and maps. It is also the oldest federal cultural institution in the United States. Did you fancy that? I know that we liked putting it together for you. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.